Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Wendy and I'm a Pipa teacher based in Toronto. Today we're going to talk about one of the common basic technique of Pipa, and the technique that we're going to talk about is called the Lun. The Lun is a 5-finger kind of a roundabout cycle where we can sustain a note in pipa. Since it's more of a plucking instrument, in order to sustain a long note over time, we use this technique called lun. This technique is also one of the hardest technique that you will encounter in pipa repertoire. However, it's one of the most essential. So once you mastered it, don't worry, you will be able to play many more songs. So let's get started, okay? So first of all, the lun, we have to get our hand in a basic position like this, and it's gonna be a loose fist, like how we were doing the pluck. Just a reminder that your thumb should, when you're doing it on the pipa like this, your thumb should always be facing, like the nail of your thumb should be facing you, facing your either the back of the pipa or upwards in an angle towards your face-ish. So if you ever find your thumb facing upwards towards the ceiling and not towards you in any sort of angle, then that means your thumb is out of place, because you always want to keep this round angle here. Okay? So there are many techniques involved in lun out there that I've seen on the internet. However, this is the most this technique is done by most professionals in China, and it's also one of the techniques that are recognized by the Conservatory of China, so the Music Conservatory of China. So this technique involves you to go out like this, one by one, 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is all the same, this is nothing new. So when you get to your thumb, I'm gonna turn it this way so you can see. When the thumb goes out, all 4 fingers come back like this. It's a one fluid motion. Some of my students end up doing, after you get this, they extend the thumb and then come out. It's not a two-part motion. It's a single motion like this. And then when your first finger goes out, your thumb goes into a resting position, starting position. And then the cycle begins again. So, couple things. What makes it difficult is that you need to keep your arm steady, especially your forearm steady. I've seen a lot of my students doing something like this because they were trying so hard to get all those fingers out that they're subconsciously using their arms to help them. So you want to keep your arm steady, keep your wrist neutral, nothing like this, nothing like that. Keep your wrist neutral. At the playing space right between the last fret and also the bridge halfway between. Around here, you want to keep the range of where all 5 fingers striking the string at as narrow as possible. It's almost impossible for you to land on the same point due to the fact that our fingers are quite large. However, your goal is to get it as close as possible. That way it will sound almost uniform when you string them together. So let's try it on the string, okay? So again, my elbow, my forearm is very loose. So I'm not touching my pipa in any way, right over here. So my wrist is in neutral position. And then we're gonna start with the first finger, okay? And then the second finger, third, and fourth. And then the thumb. The thumb is gonna go out and all 4 fingers comes in, okay? So the other thing I want you to notice is that a lot of my students end up the thumb going way up here, okay? So when your thumb is going here, you can imagine that once this becomes a habit, your cycle is not gonna go very fast. So it's gonna be a very slow cycle. And because it's gonna be a little bit unbalanced and uneven, just because your thumb is so used to sticking out like this, and the longer area that you have to travel with your thumb, the slower it will be in the future. Okay, so keep your thumb low, even though it kicks out like this. You want to keep it as low as possible. Okay, so again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As low as possible, and then 1, 2, Okay, notice that all 4 of my fingers went straight out, come back in as tight as possible to the original position, which is a loose fist, and then it goes back out. Okay, so this is the basic of Lun, and then as you get comfortable with this type of speed, you speed up. Okay, you speed up and string them together, and your goal is always as even as possible, get your sound as uniform as possible, and also making sure that there's no unevenness in between the fingers as well, like in terms of time, in terms of like how loud it is. So usually what I hear is that my students' thumb end up being more loud than or louder than the rest of your the rest of the fingers. So it end up being going like da 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 da. Da, 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 da. So that's very uneven. So you need to actively suppress your thumb's strength and balance out the rest of your fingers. Okay, so in order to string that together, this is how a Lun sound. Okay. So it's very even, and also it has to have a very crisp sound. So if you're too nervous about it, you put your finger on the string and push with it, then that will give you a very forceful sound. That's also what you're trying to avoid. You're trying to kick out with every single small joint of yours when you're doing the LunZhi, as well as using the knuckles. Okay, that's how you get power in your Lun. I hope you enjoyed this episode. For more information, you can check out my channel. Okay.